What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Retro Powered Gaming. I would just like to take a moment to thank each and every one of you that have been engaging, liking, and subscribing. It's really helped my channel grow, and I truly appreciate it. For all of you giving your thoughts and views on what the best Sega Genesis sports games are, I gotta tell you, it was all duly noted. Welcome to the best of Sega Genesis sports video games, Part 2. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this retro-powered rewind. First on our list is John Madden Football 92. Took what was great about John Madden Part 1 and improved significantly on it. For example, there's now instant replay, not only can you battle your friends in couch co-op, but there's also two-player co-op where you could be on the same team. Now in my experience personally, I never enjoyed this mode of play. It's better to just battle it out. There's play modes such as preseason, regular season, playoffs, and even a sudden death mode, which is basically overtime. There's the options for quarter lengths. You can have 5, 10, or 15 minutes. Just like Madden Part 1, there's no NFL license, so you don't have players' names, but whatever team you're using, if you know the number of your player, you know who it is. For example, if you use the Buffalo Bills and you pitch the ball to number 34, of course it's Thurman Thomas. Look at the way he just roasts the cornerback to the sidelines and takes off. Despite that, the teams do have their city names and colors, so unless you're brand new to football, you know who you're picking. You can choose weather, fair, rain, snow, or wind. The play calling is very similar. If you're used to the first game, you could definitely just pick up and play this, no problem at all. Some of the best things about Madden was that if you had friends that also liked sports or played sports, there's a good chance if you went over their house, they got the new Madden. And I gotta tell you, we had some serious battles, maybe even some fist fights over it, but tons of fun. Another cool thing for me in my experience with this game is being a Cowboy fan. Throughout the 1980s, the Cowboys were so trash, they were either left out of games, like in Joe Montana football, or they were just terrible, and of course, the golden rule is when you play your friends, you gotta pick your squad. The good news for me was, for this game, the Cowboys were starting to emerge. Sure, they weren't as high-powered as, say, the Bills or Niners. They still had the core players, and that made it a lot more fun for me. You can open the field up a little more with your offense, so if you're playing defense, you gotta really be on point, because if you have a fast running back, an easy exploit in this game is just a hit to the outside sideline with a toss or a pitch. Chances are your running back could hit the edges faster than your cornerbacks or linebackers can get to. So one strategy against that is either pick pass coverage that has the flats covered, or if you have a team like the Bills and you got Bruce Smith, just run straight to the sideline if the running back's trying to hit the corner. After you played John Madden Football 92, it was clear to see that EA had something special going on. These sports simulations were right on point, and at the time, you couldn't play a better football game. It's a throwback to the beginning of the 1990s, and play as the players that are legendary and some of the best ever to grace the gridiron. John Madden Football 92 for Sega Genesis. It's a lot of fun. Go play it.
First down! Hut!
For all you boxing enthusiasts out there, we have a real treat for you. Evander Holyfield's Real Deal Boxing was released by Acme Interactive. This boxing title is far from an arcade brawler, and the characters are 2D sprites with a side view, and when you look at the top of the screen, you can see the ring and the boxers represented by the 2 dots. Despite being on a horizontal plane, the boxers could move around the ring in all different directions. You have to use strategy and you can't just go out and brawl. If you do, you're going to get chin checked and laid out or catch a TKO. You have an energy meter like every other game, and when that meter goes down, you fall. The good news is you could throw as many punches as you can, and unless you get punched, you're not going to lose any stamina, so that's a plus or a minus depending on how you look at it. The boxer's health is represented by a head and body gauge. I've always thought of it as it looking like ash. So the more beat up you get, the more you're turning to ash. And this represents how much damage you're receiving. So if you get punched in the face too much, you'll notice that you have a bleeding eyebrow or bleeding nose. And then blood will fly off when you get hit. It's pretty violent. And in career mode, you have to create your boxer, win fights to level up, and you fight almost 30 characters. And the last, obviously, being Evander Holyfield for the World Heavyweight title. Exhibition mode, any fighter can fight any fighter. So if you want to jump right into the ring with Holyfield, go right ahead. You have to be creative. You can't just spam the buttons. If you do, you're going to get knocked out quick. For a game released in 1992, it's surprising how creative it is, how great it looks, and I guess you can say how realistic it really is. So for a time, Evander Holyfield, Real Deal Boxing, was the best boxing game you can get. If you're a boxing fan, do yourself a favor, play this title. We have the legendary NHL 94. This game was groundbreaking in so many ways. Was the first in the franchise to be licensed by the National Hockey League and the Players Association. Now they had players' names, likenesses, they had the logos on the home team's ice. It even included, at the time, the 2 new expansion teams, the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim and the Florida Panthers. One of my favorite things in the series that was introduced was the one-timer. A one-timer is when your teammate passes you the puck, and as soon as it gets there, you launch it. A really cool feature also gave you the option to save your player records. So now there's proof you could have bragging rights if you beat your friends. There's 5 modes to choose from, which are all staples in all NHL games from here on out. You have exhibition games. You can do a playoff mode, which is 1 win and you move on. But there's also best of 7 playoffs. You can do shootouts. If those of you out there aren't familiar with hockey rules, shootout is when you get a penalty shot. It's just you versus the goalie. So it's your chance to score a free goal. And there's also the demo mode. So if you just want to sit back and watch the computer play, that's an option too. Besides the one-timer, probably the coolest thing that this game introduced was team-specific organ songs. So in the start of a period, during face-off, or you score a goal, you'll hear these. Of course, for me the most memorable, growing up as a Whalers fan, we have the Brass Bonanza. I heard that song since I was like 2, maybe even before, I just don't remember. NHL 94 at the time was the greatest hockey game ever created. For me personally, NHL 95 is the best NHL game without a question. But there's so much about NHL 94 that I do like in comparison to NHL 95, and one of them is the arena. It seems more open, you can see more fans, especially during the face-off. And in addition to that, I like the color of the ice better. Couple things about this game that are just okay for me. It's a little slower than NHL 95. The players kind of slide around the ice a little too much. It feels a little slippery. And the skating backwards isn't the greatest. But overall, I gotta tell you, when this came out, I bought it. Of course I did. I love NHL 94. It's one of the best hockey games ever created, and it still stands to this day. The graphics look amazing. The fun factor is unmatched. The sounds of the game between the crowd and the organs playing, it's quite the hockey experience. And I have to applaud everyone at EA that made NHL 94. They created something timeless and special. NHL 94 is a legendary, timeless classic and is one of the best hockey games ever created. And if you haven't played it, you're missing out. So go play it. Making this list by popular demand, FIFA Soccer 95, released in 1994 and improved greatly on the previous outing of FIFA International Soccer. This game, when it was released, was amazing, and it was right up there with the NHL and Madden games in terms of quality, graphics, gameplay, sound, everything. This game had it all. This game also had licensed club teams from European leagues. So not only could you play the World Cup, but you can play in regional leagues too. You can play 1 player, 2 players, 3, even 4 players if you got the adapter for it. Another new feature, let's say you're playing and the match ends in a draw. Now you can go into the penalty shootouts and claim your victory. This is a football/soccer simulation, and it captures the essence of the sport perfect. Co-op is a lot of fun in this. It's easy to switch your players. Even though there's 11 players on the field, you have access to all of them. You could choose different clubs. You got 6 leagues across Europe to choose from. England, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Spain. Also leagues in Brazil, the American Soccer League. I usually played this game at my friend's house. I didn't buy it. I spent all my money on Maddens and NHL games. FIFA 95 is excellent. Simulates soccer perfectly. It's a lot of fun. Character sprites look amazing. The game is bright and colorful. And when you're playing, you can feel the electricity in the stadium that you're at. When you score a goal, it's ridiculous, and it captures the essence of it perfectly. Like I said before, EA was just on point back then. I'm sure if they came up with a curling game, it would have been amazing. And if you bought this in '94, you definitely scored on that purchase. Even for people that aren't fans of soccer, this game is classic and legendary in its own right, and one of the best sports games you can get in the 16-bit generation. It's dope. Do yourself a favor and go play it. This is one of the most memorable sports titles ever because of its crazy, fast-paced action and exaggerated skills that the basketball players possess. Of course, I'm talking about NBA Jam. NBA Jam features 2-on-2 basketball and licensed by the NBA with digitized graphics. There's no fouls in this game, so you can shove the person to the ground, take the ball, go dunk on them. You can throw alley-oops, you can do crazy slam dunks, smashing the backboards. Basically, there's no laws of physics in this game. There's only 2 violations in the game: 24-second shot clock and goaltending. And if you time it right when people shoot three-pointers, if you know where to jump in the paint, you can block the shot right out of the air. A key feature everybody loves about NBA Jam is the On Fire mode. This is accomplished by making 3 baskets in a row, and when you're on fire, your turbo never runs out. They have the ability to jump extra high and sometimes can break the backboard. Of course, when you're on fire, it makes it easier to shoot threes. This is when the game can get out of hand. The rosters represent the players from the 1993-94 season. Now you'll notice there's no Michael Jordan or Shaquille O'Neal in this game. And that's simply because Jordan and Shaq own the rights to their own names. Midway would have to pay them, so they just left them out. That's always been a cool what if. Imagine Michael Jordan in NBA Jam. One aspect of this game that is great but could also be frustrating: if you take too much of a lead, the other team will start making crazy shots, buzzer beaters all day. In this playthrough I played against the Jazz, in the first 3 quarters, Stockton made full court shots, no problem each time at the buzzer. So if you're playing your friends and you're whooping that ass, and then they just magically come back, you're not doing anything wrong. It's the game. NBA Jam is one of the greatest sports games ever created, and seeing NBA Jam for the first time in the arcade, it was unreal, like anything you've seen. And just like my other favorite sports games, I dropped hundreds of hours into that game. Playing against the computer, couch co-op against my friends, maybe a few broken controllers. Well, not a few, maybe a couple. And the Sega Genesis version, even though it's not the arcade, to have that at home in 1993, simply amazing. Can't imagine anybody that likes video games has never played NBA Jam, but if you haven't, go play it. It's just pure arcade fun.
Grabs the rebound. He's on fire. Wide open. He's on fire.
The Sega Genesis, in my opinion, is the greatest console ever for sports video games. The main reason I became a Sega Genesis kid was not because of Sonic, Streets of Rage, the edginess, blast processing commercials. Now don't get me wrong, those were all selling points and were beyond cool at the time. The main draw for me was its seemingly endless supply of timeless sports games. It seems since the first NHL came out and Madden came out, it was just a cascade of greatness. EA was the champion of that, set the bar for a whole industry, introduced game mechanics that stuck throughout the entirety. And my experience with the Sega Genesis and their sports titles was unlike any other. Thank you for tuning in to the best of Sega Genesis Sports Part 2.